Happy Sunday, everybody. From me and Buddy. Say hey. Buddy. Told you he keeps running off and he gets beat up all the time and got all these scabs. But we need to be safe and sound. That's what God's parameters are. He says, stay near me, live within the truth of my word, and I'll keep you safe and sound. I love hearing people's stories. Don't you love hearing testimonies? Testimonies are so powerful. They're evidence to a hurting world that God is real. And I heard 2 testimonies recently that were amazing and blew my mind. One I saw on television, and it was this woman, and she serves at Bethel now, and she has a ministry that goes after women who are trafficked. I think it's called Extreme Love. Anyways, you got to find her, listen to her story. It's amazing. So she was living in Las Vegas, and her story was she was a single mom, had a tough life, it was just a rough life. Her family just rejected her. They were wealthy, but they just canceled her out of her inheritance because she got pregnant out of wedlock with a African-American baby, and that was taboo. And so she had nothing. So she started to strip at strip clubs, and this man, he befriended her, and for months he just treated her so good, and and it's just invited her into his family, and she felt love for the first time. And then finally, months later, he says, my friendship isn't free. Ends up he's a pimp, and he pulls out all of her parents, and everybody's social security number, where they live, everything. He's like, I'm gonna go kill him and chop him up unless you believe this stuff goes on. This is real. And so she was a sex slave for years, and God ended up rescuing her through prison. And she ended up getting in prison, and she said it was the best thing that ever happened to her because she met Jesus there. So she had never heard of him. Grew up her whole life, had never been in the church. This is America. Never heard of the gospel. So she's in jail, and she has to serve several years, and she's in the penitentiary. And her only frame of reference for God and that there might be forgiveness was from gosh, what were those movies about the mafia? Oh, I'm having a brain fart. Anyways, y'all know what I'm talking about. Those mafia movies, they had sequels. Anyways, in there, they would kill people, but then they would go before the priest and say, Father, forgive me, I have sinned. And that was her only frame of reference. So right there in that prison cell, she got down on her knees, and she said she confessed for hours everything she could ever think of. And thought, if there's a God and he's real and he'll forgive me, great, Well, guess who walked in the prison cell? Jesus. Jesus came in the flesh, in his robe, walked in that prison cell. He didn't say a word to her, she said, but he touched her on her shoulder, and she said all she knows is in 1 second, the King of Glory took her from the kingdom of darkness and brought her into the kingdom of light. Amazing. And then she falls madly in love with him, of course. Like I said, anytime you encounter Jesus, the Prince of Shalom, the King of Glory, you're never the same. So her testimony just, man, it stirred me. She's a radical lover of Christ. She's going after those women on the street. She's loving extreme. Just inspires me. And then another one I heard from my pastor today. He's trying to get this woman to our church to tell us her story. And it's relevant because I posted a week or so ago about asking God if I could pray after the fact, and he was saying all things are possible to them that believe, and it blows your mind because he's just so way bigger than us. Anyways, so I'm in the church today, and pastor says he was trying to make a point because he's going to have a revival, and he's making a point that hell was real. And he heard this lady's testimony on CBN or 700 Club, and he called her to see if she'd come speak at our church. But her story was she committed suicide, and she was in hell. And she said there was flames of fire. There was, as far as you could see, there was a sea of people in torment. But out of this story, this is what I got. The mercy of God. He's looking at the heart. And she was weeping, and she began to call out his name. Jesus, 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 rescue me. And she said, the King of Glory walked through those flames, grabbed her by the hand, and she began to repent. She turned, she repented of all of her sins and her unbelief. And he took her by the hand, and he walked her out of that pit. I know, I can't theologically make sense of everything, but I just know, if someone tells you they have all the answers, run. because God is so much bigger. The mystery and majesty of God, we're not going to figure it out with this mind, no, but with this heart you can know him, and he's amazing. So if she comes to my church, y'all, I'll find out the full story. But it was just really, it just, again, and find out in the New Testament something that totally just got me. I don't know if it's in Galatians. I'll put the reference down in my comment section. But it was talking about when Jesus, you see, he holds the keys to hell. Satan doesn't. Jesus took captivity captive. Before he ascended to the Father after his resurrection, he descended into hell. And it says he preached to those who were bound in prison, like from Noah, the ark, when millions, maybe billions of people were wiped off the face of the earth. He preached to them in their chains, those that said yes. Anyone who knows Jesus, they want him. And they said yes, and he released them from their chains. And they're with him eternally. I mean, it'll blow your mind. God should blow your mind, because if you have it all figured out, it's a guarantee that you don't. You don't. But he loves you, and the thing he wants you to know is that he loves you. So receive that today. Be blessed. Happy Sunday. Happy weekend. Let's start off this new week with joy. Remember, the joy of the Lord is your strength. The joy means the gladness of the Lord, and strength in Hebrew means fortress. So the gladness of the Lord is your fortress. He's your strong tower. He will keep you safe and sound. Shalom.